Sean, first of all, nice to speak to you. Nice to see you. How are you looking forward to the return of football for Burnley?
Well, I'm looking forward to it generally. I think for football at large, I think we've got a few challenges ourselves, with varying situations, injuries and contracts. But generally, to be back working in the environment that we want, or a version of it, obviously it's not quite as normal as we'd all like it, but to be back working with the players and be on the grass is good.
You mentioned injuries. How are people looking? Is everybody pretty much fit and raring to go?
No, unfortunately, we're down with Woody, we're down with Barnsley, down with Johan Goodmanson. They definitely won't make this early period of these games. And obviously, we're really working hard with them. And you're going into the world of keeping your fingers crossed when you've got so many games in such a short space of time, because you only have to miss a couple of weeks and you could miss 5 or 6 games. So, not perfect in that sense. We've got contract situations as well, obviously, which you'll no doubt be asking me about.
Yeah, I will in a sec, but in terms of those players that you've mentioned, that's really going to have a big impact on your attacking forces, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a challenge that we've been through before. No one wants that situation, but unfortunately it has occurred. So we'll look to operate with the squad that we've got and make it as potent as we can do.
Have you got a timeline for those players in terms of when they're likely to be back?
Not at the moment. Barnes not been on the grass yet. He was during the lockdown, and then unfortunately he's flared up a little bit around his groin area, so he's not been on the grass at the moment. Johan's on the grass, but in the early stages, and so is Woody. So, like I say, it's certainly not going to be at week 1. I'm absolutely sure of that. Beyond that, we'll have to hope that their bodies deal with their injuries quickly, and we can get them up to speed fitness-wise, of course.
And of course, the other thing that you mentioned is contracts. Obviously, we saw that Robbie Brady's extended his, but what's the situation as far as getting other players on board for the rest of this season now is concerned?
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky because, as we've done in the past here, we let contracts go a long way down, unfortunately, and it's the price you pay if you do that, where, situations occur like this. No one obviously knew about this COVID situation, that's quite obvious, but we've had situations in the past that we had a chance to move forward from. This time we've let it go a long way down the line, and so we've just got to really be hopeful that the players see it, that they can do their extra months, as at the moment that's all the chairman's allowed with that situation. So I've just got to work within that and look for a bit of goodwill from them. If they don't, then I'd understand it, because it's strange times and they've got to look after their own futures. So it's in the balance at the moment, so we'll find out more over the coming days.
How many players are we looking at here, Sean, do you think?
Well, the obvious ones are Bardo, Aaron Lennon, Joe Hart, Legs, and Jeff Hendrick. So they're the obvious ones. And underlying, a longer-winded version with other players who, I feel we could affect and possibly should have affected. But they're the main 5 at the moment.
Obviously, we had the return of the Premier League last night with a couple of games. What were your overall impressions of what you saw?
I think, like most, there was a variation of both teams looking fit, but not as sharp as what they probably could look. I think we're all expecting a bit of that. Sorry, that was in the first game. The second game obviously became a little bit different with the sending off and stuff. But, I mean, when you think that it's such a bizarre kind of pre-season, where we haven't played many games, a usual pre-season, you probably hit as many as sort of 3 to 4, possibly even 5 90 minutes for certain players. Players are going to this when we maybe won real 90 minutes against opposition. So I think there'll be a little bit of a difference in the sharpness of performance. I think on balance of it, having looked at it as a spectacle, the crowd noise they've pumped into the TV situation, I think that's helped. I thought the varying games for different reasons were good in it from a manager's point of view. From a fan point of view, we'll wait and see. But I think it's still better to have football than not have it in whatever guise we can get it out there.
Obviously, before the games, we saw the players taking a knee in support of the Black Lives Matters protest. Can we expect something similar from the Burnley players, do you think?
I think that's something for the players to agree on both sides, whatever they agree, whatever they wish. I've had a chat rather with Dwight and Azza particularly, just say, look, is there anything you need, any support? Is there anything that you wish us to do? They were fine with things. They weren't asking anything special. But if the players agree that, and like with the slogan on the back of the shirts was agreed, then that's fine. We'll go along with that, whatever's needed and whatever support we can give.
And any concerns about Hawkeye after the goal that wasn't?
Well, it's certainly not. My concerns wouldn't be about Hawkeye, because now and again, even technology does break down. My concerns would be about common sense. I'd certainly say that. I think there's a time when VAR is there for many reasons, but I don't think you should say, no, you're not allowed to overrule something like that, because it was quite obviously a goal. And rightly so. Chrissy Wilder was aggrieved by that, and he should be. But let's hope it doesn't happen again. It seems an anomaly moment. We hope it is an anomaly moment, because generally I think we all agree Hawkeye's been a great success, very instant, hasn't impacted football in the way that everyone thought it would at the origins of it, because it's a very quick situation that gets sorted out. It was just, like I say, let's hope it was an absolute anomaly, and let's hope it has no effect on the season by the time its conclusion comes.
And just finally from me, Manchester City, always a difficult place to go at the best of times, but under these circumstances, are things going to be even more different? I suppose they've maybe got a little bit of an advantage of experiencing that type of a match day now.
Well, I thought it was interesting they said they hadn't had any games in the build-up, only amongst themselves. I've got to be honest, I looked at their bench and thought it's a pretty handy group of players. I think they'll be all right. I think their fitness and sharpness will probably come through playing against each other, let's say. So, no, I mean, they're a top side. There's no two ways about it. Obviously, there's a big gap now, and highly unlikely they can catch Liverpool, of course. But they're a top side, and it's always difficult going there. I think the other thing we're all wondering, we're all debating is how much difference a crowd makes. The lift it gives you, the hardship it can bring on the opposition, and that sort of thing. So I think that's all a debate situation. But at the end of the day, when you're playing teams like Man City, you're playing the elite level, of our market. So it's always difficult, regardless whether there's a crowd or not.
Hiya, Sean.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Not too bad. Just to start with myself, when you look back at lockdown, how has it been for you personally and the squad, and how have they dealt with it?
For me personally, it was a time of some reflection professionally, a time of some quality family time. So probably them two obvious things. And for the squad, I think they've dealt with it well. I think we put together a good training plan for them. I like what the support science and the physio has done for the players, and I think they've delivered it well by looking at what they've done when they've come back, the stats that they've produced, and the amount of distance they've been covering and the way they've delivered that. So I think generally they've dealt with it well, and I think collectively, as including the staff, I think we've all come back in and ready to work and ready to take on the next challenge.
How's Barnfield looking? We've seen reports that there are pods and everything like that. Are you satisfied with what the club have done in that point of view?
Yeah, I mean, the club's done a lot of work to work within the Premier League guidelines. I think the Premier League have done well. I don't think it's an easy task putting together the guidelines. In fact, I think they're more stringent than the guidelines of life at the moment. So I think that's, but they have made it as simple as possible. It's not easy. So, and I think in our case, the players have delivered that side of it well, and just got on with it. And slowly but surely, there's things that are opening up which are making it slightly easier. We're not quite back in the building yet with a risk assessment being done on the building, but the staff are allowed in, and the physios can work to a degree. And now it's getting the players back in, of course, for shower areas and workout areas, because we've had to use, rather than our small gym, we've had to put some of the equipment into the big gym. So there's a mixture of good planning from our point of view and good guidelines from the Premier League point of view, I think.
You've had a lot of time to dwell, a lot of time to look ahead to the City game. Is Manchester City away at the Etihad? Is it almost the perfect time to play them because it can be seen almost as a bit of a free hit, such a tough fixture like that? Or is it a really sort of difficult fixture to start off with this restart?
Well, in my experience playing Man City and the likes of them, I don't think it's ever quite the perfect time to play them, or not what I've experienced so far. Anyway, I think it's always tough. I think we just take on the game, as we would do. We're a bit unfortunate at the minute with injuries. We've got some contract situations that we're waiting on and waiting to find out some clarity on that. So I think it is tricky for different reasons, but going back to the game, it's always a tough task playing against the top sides. And make no mistake, the season hasn't worked in the league season, hasn't worked to plan for them so far with Liverpool doing what they've been doing. But I've said all along, it hasn't actually been because Man City have been poor or any of that. It hasn't been. It's just Liverpool have been so superpowered in getting the points they've got and the wins they've got that I think Man City have, fell away from that situation. It doesn't mean, by any means, in my opinion, it doesn't mean they're a poor side, that's for sure. And I think it's always a big challenge playing against these type of sides.
Can I ask you about the players' relationship with the fans at the moment? When I say players, I mean Premier League players in general, not just Burnley footballers, because we're seeing so much, and rightly so, positive PR coming out of football clubs at the moment, and perhaps going back to summer 2018 with the World Cup and the England squad. Has anything changed between the way that players are dealing with both charitable organisations and things on that front? Have you seen anything different, or is it just something that's been more widely reported now?
I think it's been more widely reported. I think ever since Mr. Hancock came out with his comment, I think people have come out and shown what they're doing. It's a shame in one way because I don't think they had to do that. I personally do certain things and I felt the need to tell people, and I don't think you should need to do that because a lot of things that you do are private to you for reasons that you want to do situations. On the other hand, sometimes the reinforcement of what players do has now been proven and often on quite a large scale. So I think there's the yin and yang of it. I think some people would like to do what they were doing privately, and they felt the need to expose themselves and tell people what they were doing because hopefully, I think Mr. Hancock was ill-informed. I said that at the time. I still hope now he was, and it was a comment that got put sort of almost twisted the wrong way. And now maybe he's looking at it hopefully and going, well, actually probably called that one wrong because footballers do a lot of good other than just being footballers. And I think ever more so now. I think footballers are often individually very financially powerful, but not only the finance, which of course they can help situations out with, but also their time, their effort and their will and desire to make an effect. And I think that's definitely a positive thing to show some of the really good stuff that footballers often do and do, well, until lately, often do it behind everyone's thoughts and get on with their careers. But there is a lot of good stuff being done by footballers out there, both as individuals and as clubs in our, the way that we go about our community department, for example.
Yeah, and an example in your own squad would be Ben Mee and Jack Cork calling up isolated individuals, fans who may be a little bit lonely during lockdown as well.
Well, I think there's that personal connection. I think there's a financial connection with what the players have done in the past, and myself included and the staff. And I think we have a big effect on the community here, and I think the players are very good in taking on that responsibility. We've got really good hours and coverage around the area from players doing either whether it's personal things as you suggested, or whether it's just going to see groups and schools and the like. And I think they do a good job here of running that department, and I think they've built it over time. Under Neil Hart particularly, and all of his staff, though, not just Neil, but he guided the club towards that, and now obviously has changed over to CEO. But I think there's a really good thing put in place over the last few years for the club on behalf or with the community.
Thank you very much, Sean.
Cheers.